Support for Radio Friends comes from Columbia Healthy Smiles, the dental office of husband and wife team Dr. Batson and Dr. Abe, offering comprehensive and customized care to patients of all ages. Learn more by calling 573-721-9039 or online at www.columbiahealthysmiles.com. Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Wednesday, June the 23rd. I want to introduce you to a guest making her first appearance on our program. Her name is Rachel Owen, and she is the director of Most Policy Initiative, or MOST. Well, first of all, welcome to Radio Friends, Rachel.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
And explain to me and to our listeners, what is MOST?
So MOST stands for Missouri Science and Technology. So our goal is to connect science and policy at the state and local levels in Missouri.
Okay. How did this come about? This is a fairly new organization, right?
We were technically founded back in 2016. There were 3 PhD students, me, and then Mike Hendricks, Hallie Thompson. We were at the University of Missouri working on our PhDs, wanting to pursue careers in policy, and we were frustrated by the fact that there weren't a lot of opportunities to do that in the state of Missouri. And so we started to explore what it would look like to create jobs for scientists who wanted to work in policy in the state, but also to fill this gap of trying to get more scientific information in the hands of policymakers in Jefferson City, but then around the state and in the municipalities and in the counties as well.
So how successful do you feel that you have been in getting scientific information into the minds of politicians?
So let me walk back just a little bit. So we have 2 programs. So again, we're bridging this gap between science and policy. We do that directly with policymakers, and then we also work with scientists to help them fill that need. So this year, our program that's more policymaker facing, we have a policy fellows program. We place postdoctoral fellows in Jefferson City. So we have a team of a bunch of people with PhDs, very great technical knowledge, and they answer questions for lawmakers. So this was our first year in Jefferson City. We got 80 requests for information from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. And several of the issues that we covered are now being signed by the governor. So we gave information on prescription drug monitoring plan, the empowerment scholarship accounts that passed. We talked about prescribed fires and feral hogs and farm inspections. And so I would say, for our first year to measure success, we were really pleased with the amount of questions that we got. And I think it will only grow from there.
Do you feel that the lawmakers are actually taking advice from scientists?
So we're trying to serve a pretty unique goal in that we are almost aggressively nonpartisan.
I understand.
So we are not, we don't tell them what to do with the information.
I understand. But we have had a problem in our country with science sometimes taking a back seat to reality. Do you feel that your organization is helping to bridge that gap?
So I think that we can definitely say that we've been able to get more information into the conversations. And so we just did a survey with everybody who had requests from us. And what we're finding is they're not necessarily changing how they vote on an issue, but they are having conversations about the science, in one-on-one meetings. They are using the information as they prepare testimony for, hearings and things like that. And so we're not measuring if they're, voting with the science or against the science. They have a lot of competing priorities, and we respect that. They're the decision makers, not us. But we do know from their feedback that they are using the information as they're considering bills.
What do you feel is one of the most important contributions that you've made since 2016?
I think our fellows program and being able to just be present at the Capitol and be able to answer questions has been a huge resource for lawmakers. Again, it's hard to measure impact, and it's hard to say because this was in 2016, we had, 3 PhD students who were doing this on the side. I started as the director full-time in 2019, and then we brought on 6 more employees last year in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, well, I really admire what you're doing. I admire what you're doing, and I respect what you're doing. As far as the scientists, what kind of feedback have you had from the scientists who you're working with?
Yeah, so I would say sometimes it's harder to convince scientists that lawmakers want the information than it is to convince lawmakers that
I can understand that.
They might want the information. So a couple of big things we hear from scientists. So a lot of them want to know how to engage with the policymaking process in general and just don't know how. We haven't learned about government. If we're scientists, we haven't learned about government since like 8th grade or high school. And so we go through a lot of basic things like how a bill becomes a law and where are the opportunities for a scientist to engage. But then we also help scientists build relationships, which most of the time we think, we just come in when they're about ready to vote on a bill, but it starts way before that if we actually want to get that scientific information into the process.
So are the scientists actually conversing and trying to build a relationship with the lawmakers?
I'll give a couple examples. So we work with a climate scientist in Kansas City. We got him connected with Climate Action Kansas City, which is a group of lawmakers who are working on a Kansas City regional climate action plan. So now he's actively involved in helping those lawmakers understand climate science. We also have had scientists serve here on the Columbia Climate Adaptation and Action Commission. I know I'm not saying that correctly.
That's okay.
And we've helped. So I would say yes, we've helped scientists around the state be able to figure out how to engage with that process. They are, having one-on-one meetings with their elected officials. They are going to their elected officials and talking about various topics.
Now, what if someone listening right now would be interested in joining your organization, becoming a part of it? What do they need to do?
So first of all, if they are a scientist, a researcher, a science enthusiast, they can join our local science engagement network. So that's our network of scientists across the state. So we send out regular action alerts. So they can go to our website, mostpolicyinitiative.org, and there's information there on how to get on our newsletter and sign up for the network. Okay,
it's mostpolicyinitiative, all is one word, .org, and you can sign up there. You also have more information, just people who want more information about the organization.
So in general, one of the big asks that we would have of your listeners is to just spread the word about our organization. And so one of our goals is to try to get out and talk with voters and constituents as much as possible. So tell other people about us and tell us if we can.
Okay. So would you go to a group or organization and talk to so if they want to contact you, if some group or organization wants you to come out and talk, you'll do that. Just go to mostpolicyinitiative.org and request it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Rachel, for coming by today.
All right. Thank you.
Continued success. All right. Bye-bye.